Hi, I'm Gary from organicweb.com.au and I'm a Mailchimp Pro partner. In this video, I'm going to show how to use Mailchimp for your email marketing. This video is perfect whether you're a total beginner to Mailchimp or have used Mailchimp for years and just want to know how to use it better and get some tips and tricks. I hope you enjoy this video. Once we log into Mailchimp, we see something like I'm seeing on the screen at the moment. This is the Mailchimp dashboard. Just for advice, I'm using what's called the standard plan in Mailchimp, and the plans you might see by going to pricing when you go to Mailchimp.com. Essentials plan might suit you well for your email marketing. That's entirely up to you. Back to the dashboard. In Mailchimp, there are certain sections. The first section, and this is the order we'll go through things in this video. The first section is called the audience, and that, to me anyway, is the most important section. The audience is our container in which we house our contacts, the people we send our email marketing to, for example. So we create an audience and we add people to that audience, and then what we do is we send a campaign, an email campaign, which is basically an email we send to the audience or part of the audience. And I'm going to go through all this in this video. Automations is when we send an automated email, such as we have the person's birthday. Therefore, on their birthday, we send them automatically a happy birthday email. Or maybe as soon as someone subscribes, we send them an email saying welcome, and another email in a week's time saying, again, another welcome message. And last but not least, although there are various things here, last but not least is the analytics, reporting. There are various different reports available in Mailchimp, and again, we will go through this. Just very quickly, the content studio or content is where we house our files, such as our images that we want to include in our email marketing. So you can see that I've already uploaded various images into our content studio, into our content, our file manager, and then I can add these to our images. Now it's very easy to upload images into our content, into my files. We can just click upload, for example, or even drag and drop into it from our computer. But let's get started with our audience, which again is the most important part of Mailchimp. To get to the audience section in Mailchimp, we quite simply log into Mailchimp, and then under audience, we click audience dashboard. So I'm going to click audience dashboard, and there's various stuff going on here, but we can see we might be able to, in Mailchimp, have multiple audiences. And this depends on the plan you're on, essentials, standard, and so on. Most organizations, or almost all organizations, would do best by having a single audience. Then we divide that audience by things called tags and segments, for example, and the data we have in our audience, which is called fields, or the data we add to fields. So typically you would only have one audience. And this is for many reasons, which I'll go to very quickly, and it'll make more sense as we carry on. Firstly, in Mailchimp, the email address is the unique identifier in an audience. Thus, if we have multiple audiences, we might be able to add that same person into multiple audiences. Okay, that affects your costing. When a person unsubscribes in Mailchimp, they click unsubscribe on the email sent from a Mailchimp email. They unsubscribe from the audience that email was sent from. So for example, if you have my email address in two of your audiences, I click unsubscribe from one of your emails. I'm unsubscribed from one, but you can keep sending to me from the other audience. You've broken the law. So that's really the main reason why we would have a single audience. And it's just easier for management having a single audience. If I click view audiences, you'll notice I can have multiple audiences. And just to let you know, to delete an audience, we quite simply just click the little box and click delete. But let me create a new audience. You'll probably very rarely need to do this, but I'll just create an audience to show you what goes into it. And you'll notice that immediately Mailchimp tries to encourage me to use tags, use a single audience and use tags instead of a new audience. But I'll click create audience, and we'll wait for this to load up. And it's just self-explanatory. So the audience name, let's just call this Gary's Great Ice Cream, for example. Default from address, okay, this is your business address, for example. The from name, Gary the Ice Cream Dude, whatever. Campaign URL settings, don't worry about that. Every email we send from Mailchimp can be viewed online. It's stored online on a page, and this is just saying what do we want that URL to look like for that page. Honestly, just leave it. Remind people how they subscribed. Thanks for joining from organicweb.com.au, for example. Okay, and then various other information, your company information, your name, etc., etc., etc. At the bottom here, the form settings, enable double opt-in. Unless you need to, I wouldn't enable that. What that is that if you enable it, when someone subscribes, Mailchimp will send them a follow-up email saying, click here to confirm that you actually want to subscribe. The problem is if the person then doesn't click that in the follow-up email, you will not be able to send them email marketing. And as far as I know, but you'll need to check this, as far as I know, there's no legal reason why you need to enable that. Enable GDPR fields if you're in the European Union, or there's another reason you need to enable general data protection regulation fields, you need to enable that. Notifications, do you want an email every time someone subscribes or unsubscribes? That's up to you. And click save. Okay, so we've created our new audience. Hopefully you never need to do that, but at least now you know what goes into that. And we'll wait for this to load up. But now, once we have our audience, we don't have people in it. People are called contacts, and again, email address is the only information we actually need for each person in Mailchimp. How do we add contacts? Well, if we click add contacts, we can add people one by one, which you can go into, click add a subscriber, and you can just put in their email address, details. You can import contacts, which we will go through. And last but not least, you could, if you really wanted to, go to integrations down the bottom. Now, an integration is a connection with another system. So for example, you use Xero accounting. You can use the integration so that automatically once a customer is added to Xero, they're added to Mailchimp. Maybe you use Eventbrite, you can do the same. But again, I'm going to show you how we can import from Excel or Google Sheets, which is probably the most popular way of doing things. I have two Google worksheets here. The first one's nice and simple, and the second one gets a little bit more complicated with a few more fields. Let's just do this basic first import. First name, email address. You'll notice I've got everyone's email address. It doesn't matter the order in which the columns are. Sorry. So I'm just going to copy this stuff from Google Sheets or Excel. Just copy it. Go to Mailchimp, add contacts, import contacts, and now we just follow the wizard. I'm going to copy and paste. I click continue. I'm doing this fast, but you can go through it in your own time. I just paste in the information here. It looks a bit weird, but don't worry about that. Continue to organize. Right, select the audience, make sure it's the correct audience. I'm going to explain this very quickly. If you want to send people these emails, if you've got permission to send these people emails, you will always you'll always add them as subscribed. In Mailchimp, Mailchimp will only let you send to subscribed people. Unsubscribed means they've clicked unsubscribe in the email. Non-subscribed, that's sort of a special class if you have e-commerce and a person hasn't agreed to get email marketing. And cleaned means broken. We've sent an email to that email address and it was spelled wrong, the person's changed their name, something like that. So we'll add them as subscribed. Update any existing, I'll explain that on the next import. Continue to tag. We'll go through this again, but a tag is just a way we label contacts. We group them together, we label them. So I could call this one 2024. Let's say I want to remember when I imported these people. I could just go 2024 and create 2024. I might want to call them VIPs. It could be anything, whatever suits your business. I'll click continue to match. When this is white up the top, Mailchimp is saying that it's recognized these fields. You can change, and unfortunately you're not seeing it on your screen, but if you click where it says first name, what I'm seeing is a drop down, and you can experiment on your screen, that shows you the various fields are. You could even create a new field. It says create a new field. You could even create a new field, but this is the first name. So I'm going to click confirm, and the email address is correct. So I'll just leave that, and I'll click finalize import. Mailchimp gives me a quick check and complete import. Once this loads up, I'm expecting to see those 4 people. So let me just go view imported contacts. And what we will see in just a second is 4 imported contacts. Right, there they are. And I'll just click the little cross to get out of what's called the segment, and we'll go into segments. Right, so there those 4 people are. And we can see their various fields here at the moment. Email address, first name, last name, address, phone number, tags. Remember, I added the tag. I could have added different tags, and so on. Let's do this import one more time. What I'm going to do is show you a way you can add and delete fields, because let's say I'm never going to use this address and phone number field as an example. Let me show you how we can delete these fields, and also we can add new fields. Let's go to our spreadsheet, and I'll go to my sheet, and what you'll notice is I now have a store and a birthday field. If I go back to Mailchimp, I don't have store and birthday anywhere here, so I need to add store and birthday, and I need to remove address and phone number. So the way I do that is I click settings, audience fields, and merge tags. Let's go into that. Okay, now if I want to delete some fields, so let's delete address. All I do is I click, oh sorry, let me just move myself here. Oopsie, sorry about that. Let me just off a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to click on the little delete icon, and Mailchimp says to me type delete to confirm. So let's just type in delete, and I said I also want to get rid of the address field, so I'll do that. Wait for this to load up. Come on, Mailchimp. Right, I also said I want to delete the address field, so I'm just hovering over, click delete, type in delete, and it deletes the field. Now, it won't delete the actual people in the audience, it's just deleting the data in that column and that specific column. And let me just move my little video problems. Busy. Okay. Right, so I also said I wanted to add the store and the birthday. So let me add a field called store. So I click add a field. Mailchimp says what kind of field do I want, and in this case I'm going to add store, so it's just text, just plain text I want to add. Wait for that to load up, and you'll notice I have a new field down the bottom, and I can just rename this as store, for example. Click save changes, and I want to add one more field, and that one more field in this case is called birthday, because maybe I want to send people the happy birthday email on their birthday, or maybe a week before their birthday. So we'll just add that field. Working hard, but I'm sure it'll be with us in just a second. There we go. And again, I click add a field. Now, something to note here is that in Mailchimp, we have 2 types of date fields, birthday and date. I'm adding a birthday. A date requires the year, whereas birthday doesn't. The birthday just requires, for example, 12th of February, something like that, whereas date would require 12th of February 2000. So let me click the birthday to add the birthday field. We'll call this field birthday just so we understand what's required in that field. Right, let's call this birthday. And date format, depending where you are, I've dropped down, and you can change it to day and month. I'm in Australia, so I'm going to select day and month, and we'll click save changes. So in our audience now, we will have the store field and the birthday field in the correct formats. Just while I'm here, and again I'm under settings and audience field and merge tags, when we send our email campaign, our email message in Mailchimp, we can include the first name, such as hi, first name. But what if we don't have the first name for every subscriber in our audience? Well, we can set what's called a default merge tag value. And you might put in here something like member or customer. So the default merge tag value will only show where we don't have first name for the person. If we do have the first name, Jill, whatever, it will include the first name. So I could just add here, let's do ice cream lover, and click save change. So that's, if I use the first name merge tag value in my email, it'll now include ice cream lover if I don't have the person's first name. But let's just view our audience again. Let's go to all contacts. And you can see now the address and phone number no longer appear, and store and birthday are fields here. Let me do that import. So going back, some people are the same, some are different. I don't need to remove people from the spreadsheet, from Mailchimp. I don't need to delete unsubscribe people in Mailchimp. Mailchimp handles that. But let me just information's a bit all over the place, but let's just save this. And what we're going to do is go back to Mailchimp, click add contacts, import contacts, copy and paste, continue, and we'll just paste in our data. It's included a lot of empty cells, but that's absolutely fine. Click continue. Okay, that audience is correct. I'm importing as subscribed, but even if I import as subscribed and they unsubscribed in our audience, Mailchimp won't change the status of unsubscribed people. Update any existing. So if I already have people in my audience, do I want to update it with that information I'm importing? In this case, I do. So I'll click continue to tag, and I can call these anything I want to. I can call, let's call this, I don't know, ice cream lovers. You can add as many tags as you want to. Continue. Right, we've got first name, email address looks correct, we've got the store correct, we've got birthday correct. Click finalize import. Let's just see, we can leave. So let's just view our dashboard. Let's just go into our contacts to load up. What you will notice as well is that at any time you can export in CSV format. You can export your audience and keep a copy on your desktop. These are called fields in Mailchimp: email address, first name, and so on. Most plans in Mailchimp allow you to have 30 fields of data. We also have tags, as we know. In Mailchimp, you can have as many tags per person as you want. It's unlimited, the number of tags. The only limitations are 100 characters per tag. Email marketing, this shows you whether the person is subscribed or unsubscribed. Source shows you how they were added. For example, if it was from Eventbrite, from an integration, it would show Eventbrite. Contact rating is out of 5. That is how engaged is that person with your marketing. Everyone's added as a 2. Sorry, excuse me. As they open and click more of your emails, they go up 3, 4, 5. If they're not engaged in your marketing, they go down to a 1, or if they're unsubscribed, they'll go down to a 1, for example, and various other information. There's another way of managing tags in Mailchimp. On the left-hand side, we can click tags, and you can do various things here. For example, let's say we want to send an email to people that are tagged ice cream lovers. Well, we can quite simply click the down arrow and click send regular campaign to email just those people. And I'll show you another way of sending to them a bit later on. Also, you can create new tags at this stage, but also you can bulk tag contacts. Sorry, excuse me. So that's tags. Back to audience dashboard, back to all contacts. Last but not least is in Mailchimp, we can what we call segment contacts. So we've got fields, we've got tags, which is data we add. A segment is just a search of our data or a filter. So let's say, for example, I want to know everyone that shops at our CBD store because we want to target our marketing at just people at the CBD store. I could go, well, actually there are multiple ways. I could click on new segment, regular segment, or advanced segment. And by the way, the difference between advanced segment and regular segment, an advanced segment gives you more options. However, advanced segments you need to update before sending your email, whereas regular segments automatically update. So for example, if I create a segment today, I create an email to send to that segment, then next I schedule my email to go out next Thursday. You might have people that are added to your audience or unsubscribe. Mailchimp will recalculate at the time of sending if you use a regular segment. Hence, I recommend regular segment. So that you could create segments here, you could view your segments here. What I'm going to do is just show you that on the left-hand side, you can click segments, and it's just another way of viewing your segments or adding segments. But let's create a regular segment for now. And I'm going to click create a new segment. And you can just add your segment here, your criteria here. So for example, we said we wanted to know all people in the store that equaled CBD. I can click the down arrow and you can see I can add tags, for example. I could add when their birthday was, even their contact rating out of 5. But I said I was interested in the store. If I click on store, my criteria were where store is, for example, CBD. And I could add extra filters, but for now, I'll just go review segment and call it something meaningful. I've got too many customers, or seen too many people that use strange words or some coding to describe a segment, but I highly recommend just plain language. It just makes understanding what's in it much better. And so I'm just going to type here store equals CB, just so it's nice and we know what it is. Review segment. And Mailchimp will just now show me an example. So let's see what happens. Store equals CBD. So 6 contacts match. And you can see here that all these people have the store as the CBD. So I can click here, for example, use segment. And it saves my segment. So just to show you, again, at any stage, I could just click the down arrow and click, send regular campaign, or even just export people that are in that segment. But if I go to all contacts, and I'll just click the little cross to get out of the segment. And if I now click view segment, wait for this up, sorry. At any stage, I can now click store equals CBD, and it'll recalculate who matches the people at the contacts that match those conditions at that time. And you can have as many segments as you want in Mailchimp. But that really is audiences. And now you are ready to send your email marketing to your audience, or a segment of your audience, or a tag, or anyone in your audience. Creating and sending effective emails or email marketing in Mailchimp is unbelievably simple. Once we log into Mailchimp, just click all campaigns. Under campaigns, all campaigns, because campaigns is basically the email we create to send out. I'm going to create a new email, but first let's just look at 1 or 2 emails that major organizations send. So this is Chanel. Let's just see what they're doing here, and I'm not going to cover everything, but basically, and this is kind of the formula you see in, it's the most popular probably formula for email marketing because it works. A lot of white space, for example, logo, image, heading, text, button. Okay, a little bit more, but logo, image, heading, text, button. That is entirely, that is usually what you see. So this is just a single email. This is very popular. Not a single email, a single content. Single content is very popular because it focuses on the product you're trying to sell. Also, a lot of people don't scroll, so just having one item just seems to be more effective in many cases. Always logo at the top, then maybe an image, nice big heading so that people can understand what this email is about by just very quickly looking at it. And a few more words. Some people like to read a little bit more, but honestly, you don't need more than a few sentences. And a button. We always take persons somewhere else, to our website, maybe a PDF to download, something like that. Let's just look at Pepsi, another major company. They use actually a very similar formula here. So we've got logo, image, heading, text, button. Exactly the same, but they've got more than one story. So they go image, heading, text, button, image, heading, text, button, and it just carries on and on. So if you have what's called a newsletter, more than one story, you just repeat. You always have your logo at the top and then image, heading, text, button, image, heading, text, button. And notice how nice and big their text is. I wouldn't go smaller than 16 point. Some organizations are 20, maybe even 22, sometimes even 24 point text in your main body. So really big. Less is more in email marketing. Lots of white space. So let's create a very similar sort of layout to this. In Mailchimp, this is unbelievably simple. We click Create New, and we'll wait for the builder to come up. So we can call this anything we want to. Let's call this ice cream 2024. Oh, that didn't help. Sorry about that. Ice cream 2024. Create email. And we just follow the prompts as we go through. Starting at the top. Right, so who are we sending to? We click Add Recipients. We choose an audience. So in this case, I'm going to choose my Gary's Great Ice Cream. And we can send to, at this stage, we can create a new segment. We can paste in the emails as long as they're already in our audience. We can send to an existing audience. We can send to a tag if we want to. But I'm going to send to everyone for now. And we can specify who we don't want to send to. Then Mailchimp recommends clicking the Personalize the Send To field and just select here Fname. Click Save. Then who it's from. This defaults to Gary the Ice Cream Dude, but if you want to, you can click Edit From, and as long as the email address is on your domain, whatever your business or organization's domain name is, that's absolutely fine. You can change it. The subject line, hugely important. This encourages people, or this will help get people to either open your email or not open your email. What you typically want to do is you want to add a few words that entice the person to open it, but that reflect the story in your email, what it's about. But don't use something like newsletter 2024. That really is not enticing. You would do what the content, what you're doing that year, or something that's exciting, something that people want to see. Let's go, have you tried our new ice cream? Okay, that's not the best, but it's got a question, which is nice. Questions often work well, and and if you want to add an emoji, you can always click the little emoji button and add that. Preview text is just a few lines. Some email readers, I think Outlook, show the first few lines of the email. You can override that by adding a preview text here. I recommend doing it. I won't do it right now. Click Save. When do you want to send this? Do you want to schedule to send in the future, or do you want to send right now? I'll send right now. But let me tell you about selecting the best time to send. Is what you want to do is you want to send at the time the person's ready to make a decision about your email. So for example, if you're sending something related to the person's family or something that they, an entertainment event over the weekend, it's not a good idea to send it at the time the person's at work, because they're not going to be in the right frame of mind to make the purchasing. I'll click Save. Right, getting on to content, let's design our email. I'll click Design Email. Wait for this to load up. The various starting points, Mailchimp templates, and you can choose any of these. I'll start from scratch just to show you, but you can honestly play with any of them. What most people also do is they create their first email with their branding, colors, etc. And then they just copy a past email by clicking recent sent emails and just copying. That's the easiest way. But let's create our first. So I'll click apply and we'll start creating this email. Mailchimp gives me sort of a default layout, and you'll notice it's quite similar to that Chanel and Pepsi one. Logo, heading, text, image, button. And I can adapt this as I go. Now, if this weren't my logo, I could just click on here. So at any of these blocks, you can click and you can make changes either on the left-hand side or in here. So for example, if I wanted to change this text, I could quite simply click there, highlight it. I could even write with AI, but I'll go our new coffee ice cream is awesome. Okay, you won't do that, but you get the idea. And then you might want to put a few lines of text. Try the new award-winning cream that we make in-house. And just maybe one more line. You'll love it. Okay. Just before we carry on making more amendments to this, we can, to the left-hand side of the screen, click Styles, and we can change, for example, you can do it for desktop and mobile. You could change the background color if you really wanted to. We could click on here and change background color, even add a background image. You can change the text type from Helvetica, which is the default, to Comic Sans or Korean New, and there are many of the Google safe web fonts here as well that you could use. You can change the size, and if you're using heading 1, you can change it for that, etc, etc, etc. And so you can go down to buttons and so on. Let's go back to add. Let's now change this. So this is just an image block. If this were not here, so let me actually delete it, and just to show you, I can delete blocks at any time by clicking remove block, and any of these blocks here I can just drag and drop wherever I want it. So let's drag and drop an image block there, and Mailchimp immediately says to me on the left hand side, let's add an image. So I'll click add, and I can either upload an image or browse images that I already have in Mailchimp. If you want to upload an image from your computer, click that. Otherwise, browse images, which I'll click. And I think I've got, there's an ice cream image that I uploaded earlier. Again, I could have just dragged and dropped images. Click insert. Okay. Now, I highly recommend you add a link where people go to if they should click on this image. This might just be your website. It could be an email address and so on. But for now, I'll just put a website. Okay. The other thing is alt text. Highly recommended. Please do this. Alt text is just what words will show should that image not display. Also, people using screen readers for accessibility, web content accessibility guidelines, WCAG, and so on. You really do need to have this. Now, Mailchimp will often suggest some alt text. If it's not correct, in this case it did pretty well. If it's not correct, you could rewrite it. So it's alt text. Mailchimp has automatically come up with a glass cup filled with vanilla ice cream, and so I'll accept that for now. So we've done our image. That was so easy. What if we want to add a video? The trick here is that you first need to upload your video onto YouTube, and there's also a lot of free content you can reuse in your email marketing on YouTube, or something like Vimeo. It needs to be hosted somewhere, not in Mailchimp. Start watching your video, and then quite simply just copy the URL, come back to Mailchimp, and here's the video block. So let's just drag and drop that video wherever we want it to show. I'm just going to drop that video block, and on the left hand side, Mailchimp says what's the source. Just drop in the URL. We'll just wait a second, and you'll notice that the thumbnail image comes across from YouTube. So just when you send this email to someone, to me for example, I'll see that. When I click on it, it takes me to YouTube to view the video. Click done. One thing I haven't done is added text to the button or added a URL behind it. So if I click on the content block, I can add a link here. So where do I want people to go when they click add button text? In this case, because it's our new ice cream, I'd probably take them to a page advertising the new ice cream. But let's just add the example website for now. Nice and easy. And let's just change the text here to something else, such as I don't know, learn more, for example, something like that. Oh, sorry, and just while I'm there, I'm just going to click on it again, and you'll notice that you can come down the bottom if you really want to, and you can change the background color, for example. So let's just change that to make it a bit more highlighted. Click done. You can change the shape of it, and you can play with these different things. Do you want a border? No, I don't. So I'll to 0. What size? Let's just bigger. Okay, it's not looking great, but you get the idea anyway. These things at the bottom, social buttons. If you click on that, you can add links to your Facebook page, to your X page, to your website, etc. That's purely up to you, but I'll just delete it for now. These other blocks, you might not see product recommendation. You'll only see these if you have your e-commerce store, such as Shopify, WooCommerce connected, and the others are pretty self-explanatory. Text, you can just add the paragraph. On the layouts, just to show you, you can create columns for your email. So let's say we wanted 2 columns, 50-50 split, sorry. We'll take this across here. And again, we can just drag and drop, let's say heading into the first one, and I'll just add some text. And let's say we could just add image into that second one there, drag and drop. Go. I would browse images, add an image. But for now, let me just delete. So that's how you add columns in. Sorry, let me block, delete one again, just to make it a bit more pretty. This stuff at the bottom will also autofill for you. We have to have an unsubscribe link in Mailchimp. That's mandatory. You can delete most of this stuff or change it into hard text if you want to. That's purely up to you. Most people just. You can delete the logo by clicking on it and click the delete button if you really want to. One thing I've noticed is I didn't include the person's first name, so such as hi first name. What I'll do is I'll change this word our. Actually, no, let me just add before the word our, let's add the person's first name. So all I do is I click wherever I want what's called the merge tag, the first name to appear. Click merge tags up the top and you'll notice the drop down, and I just insert the field. In this case, I want to insert the person's first name. What I'll do is I'll add a comma, space, and I'll just change the O to smaller case. So now when it sends to me, to gary@organicweb.com.au, it'll say, Gary, our new coffee ice cream, and so on. Okay, so let's just say that's our entire email we want to send. First thing we do is preview. See what it looks like on a desktop device, what it looks like on a mobile device. If we enable the live merge tag info, what we'll be able to see is here you can see it's inserted the name for Gary@organicweb in this case, so we can see that it's working. Okay, I'm happy to send this email. So let's click save and exit to the top right of the screen. Going back to our builder, working from the top, everything's looking good. Okay. Do I want to automatically post to Facebook or X or Instagram? That's up to you. And typically there's nothing we need to do under settings and trackings. All we have to do now is send. I do recommend, however, you first send yourself a test email to make sure it looks okay. Once that's okay, you click send. And once we've clicked send now, unless it's scheduled for the future, once we click send now, it sends very quickly. Mailchimp sends very, very quickly in the next few seconds, and you can't stop it from sending on the standard and essentials plans. If you are worried about clicking send and having to make changes afterwards, I recommend you schedule your email to go out, even in an hour or two's time, because if it's scheduled, you can still make changes before it goes out. But in this case, sorry, I'm just clicking send now, and it's gone. In the next few minutes, your recipients will start seeing your email marketing. But that really is campaigns, nice and simple. Automations in Mailchimp, also called customer journeys, are a way that we can send an email automatically based on something, an event. So we create what we want to do in advance and just let it run. And as soon as your subscribers meet that criteria or those criteria, the email is sent. So for example, if it's a birthday, you want to send happy birthday emails to all your customers and you've got their birth dates, we can set up an automation to send an email on every person's birthday. You don't have to manually go and do it every single time someone has a birthday. To get to automations in Mailchimp, we quite simply log in and under automations, click overview. Just to show you in our audience, I'm going to click all contacts in our audience, just to show you that we have in our audience the birthday. We will create that birthday email to go out. So you'll notice I have the birthday and I'm in Australia, so I've got day, month, rather than in the US, for example, that might show you month, day. But back to automations. The first automation I'm going to show is how we can send a welcome email to people as they first subscribe. So let's say you've got a subscribe form on your website. As soon as a person subscribes, you want to send them an email saying, thank you, these are the kinds of services and products we offer, and maybe a week later, send another one. Nice and easy to do. We'll then do a birthday email. But just letting you know, under Automations Overview, you can go through this in your own time. Mailchimp has created a whole lot of sort of templates, I guess, for the email. So if someone has tagged something, you could use this pre-built journey and so on. So it's well worth looking through here. I'm going to build from scratch just to show you kind of how it works. But the best way of learning, honestly, is just to dive in once you've watched this. We can call it anything we want. So let's just call this welcome. I'll select the audience. You might only have one audience, but I'll select the audience I want and click Start Building. So this is my welcome. Sorry. As soon as someone subscribes, I want to send them an email. A week later, send them another. So I choose a starting point, and you can go through these, but you can see when they sign up for an email. So that's one I'd use. If it's their birthday, and you can go through all this other stuff. When a certain field changes, dates and special events, on the sign up date, on the birthday. But for now, let's select this signs up for an email. So as soon as someone signs up, and I can further filter this, so to exclude certain people. So if I don't want people, and my name's Gary, so if we don't want people called Gary getting this, I could select where the first name is not Gary, for example. I'll just get rid of that now. Very importantly, include imported contacts. If you do not have this checked, this automation will not trigger if you import from, for example, Excel or Google. So most of my clients would check that. Click Save Starting Point. All right, so just going back to the top, when someone signs up to Gary's Great Ice Cream, what do we want to happen? So if I click on Add a Journey Point, and what I will do, I'm just self-right. Yeah, so you can see the various things. Do I want to send an email? Do I want to wait for 1 week? Do I want to send an SMS? Now, in Australia anyway, I believe SMS is not available. It's only available in the US, but I'm sure that'll change soon. Yeah, do we want to tag someone? Okay, but I want to send them an email, so I click Send Email. And then I'll just build my email that I want to send as soon as someone has subscribed. So I might want to call this something like, let's change the subject line to welcome, we're glad you are here. I won't do preview text, but typically you would put in your preview text a few lines, a longer subject line really, but just for brevity I'll not do that. Then when do we want to send? Do we want to wait for an hour after the person subscribed? Wait for a day after they subscribe? Well, no, I want to send as soon as possible, so I'll leave that. We won't do Google Analytics this time. So design your email. And by the way, you can, or you probably would usually just rename your email as well. But I'll select a template. And go. Right. I can choose a recently sent email, for example, or a draft email. So let me select draft for now. These are other demos I've done over time. So let's just select this one, for example, just to speed it up, but you would create your email. You'll just use it there. So let's say this is all okay. This is your entire email you want to send when people sign up. Obviously, you would do something else. We'll click Save and Return to Journey. Okay, so as soon as someone signs up, that email is sent. But let's say we want to send in a week's time. We can add a journey point and myself. Then what we can do is add a time delay. We can add 1 week, wait for 1 day. We can change it, but I'll wait for 1 week. Self again. And what we'll do is we'll send another email. Add journey point, email. Wait for it to load up. A little bit slow at the moment, but we'll get there. We will change the subject line. I won't do this right now. We'll change the subject line, create the actual email we want to send, and I'll just click close. What you would do then is just click continue and start running it. So it just runs forever. So as soon as someone subscribes, it sends them the first email, a week later the next one, and so on. It just keeps going until you stop the automation. Till you stop it and you change it, or you just stop it forever. But let's just show now the birthday email. You just click back. Let's say you want to send to people on their birthday, a happy birthday email. Again, we'll go build from scratch. Call this birthday, whatever I want to. Choose my audience, click start building. Choose my starting point, and in this case it's birthday, and if you don't see it there you can click on date and special events, birthday. So do you want to send this a certain amount of days before? So if you're a cinema, if you're a restaurant, if you're whatever, you can send it. So let's say you're a restaurant, you could send 2 weeks before the birthday saying, hey, your birthday's coming up, why not book your table? We've got a special offer for every single person on their birthday. But for now, I'll just put 0, so it sends on their actual birthday. Click Save Starting Point. So what I said in this case is I wanted to send the person an email on their birthday. So I'll click Send Email. And again, I would just design this. Change the subject line to Happy Birthday. We're so happy. We hope you have a great day. Then create your email with some fireworks on it or whatever. And that's it. You'd click continue, start your campaign, and it just runs. So as soon as it's someone's birthday, send them the email. And that's how easy customer journeys are. So a regular campaign we send in Mailchimp under campaigns regular is we send the same message to everyone at the same time. And automation is different in that as soon as a certain criteria are met, it automatically sends an email that we've predefined. Highly worth playing with automations and just using them, trying to see how you can use them for your own business purposes. Various reports are available in Mailchimp, and we'll go through the various options. Once we've logged into Mailchimp, we would typically go down and the reports are underneath Analytics. The most popular report, I guess, is under Reports. And this is for email marketing, under reports. And then we can see a report at the individual level. So for example, this ice cream 2024. If I click view report, I'll go through this in a little bit of detail, and then I'll go through the other different reports there are quite quickly. But this is the most popular type of report. So for each email we send in Mailchimp, each campaign, we can see a report. Various sort of information we can see, you can share the reports and so on. Opened and clicked are our big measures in email marketing. Open means who's open to read the email. Clicked means who's opened it and then clicked a link, a hyperlink in that email. Opened are not terribly accurate these days purely because of the way that various systems record or do or don't report the open. So it's not terribly accurate. Clicks are fairly accurate and probably the best measure at this time. Various other information underneath here. So for example, the abuse reports, terrible wording, but this means how many people have marked have manually taken your email and put it in the spam folder, the spam or the junk folder. We don't want that to happen. Mailchimp report tells you how many people have done that. If you have e-commerce, Shopify, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, Wix store, etc., you might be able to see how much money has been spent, or how much you've earned from that email campaign. Content Optimizer, you can view the report in your own time. Mailchimp tells you very roughly how you're going, if you've gone according to best practice, but honestly, you know your audience best, so use it with caution. View the click map. So which were the clicks most sent? So this is important because this is how we tell if our content or where people are clicking, what they're actually interested in, because it might be different to what we think. So if we click View Click Map, you can see where the hyperlinks are. So for example, 81.8%, or 9 clicks in this case, very, very small email campaign, were on this. Then 2 clicks were on that button. No one watched the video. There we go. So definitely it was great in this case having a hyperlink on the image because people clicked on that image. This is how we typically know that people don't read long emails, for example, because typically, and this is a very broad generalization, you would find that any links lower down the email get less clicks than those higher. So typically we try to add our big sellers in our email marketing right up the top so people don't have to scroll too much to see it, because that's where we generally get most engagement in marketing. And you can see this for desktop or mobile. Just going back. Where were we? We were under click map. Again, the open rate, the click rate. Predicted demographics, you might not, or you may have this on your account. Look, I opened all of these. So it's not always necessarily correct. By the way, I'm 50 years old. Mailchimp is showing me as 47.4% being, actually even higher than that, being over 5. Thanks. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Thanks, Mailchimp. 24-hour performance. This will calculate. This email was actually just sent. It's just a test email I sent, and you typically find that most people will click on your email within an hour of you sending it. Just a hint here: you can click View More under View More, and this is who has opened your email. Typically, what we say is that if a person has opened more than very roughly 10 times, it probably means they forwarded your email to someone else. So you can always contact them afterwards and say, hey, do you know anyone else that wants to subscribe? Or you might want to phone them to make a sale, and so on. I'll just go back to our report. Going down to the bottom. Not too much else to say here. Just to let you know, if you're outside of the USA, this top locations by opens is probably horrifically wrong. It usually shows me as being all over the world, even though it's actually correct today because I am in Australia. You can click activity and view who you sent to, who opened, click performance we looked at, content optimizer, social. I don't find this works very well. It's meant to show how many people have shared via social links and so on in your email campaign. If you have e-commerce, you can see how many people have, how many purchases there were, what products there were, how much they were worth, etc. And there's various other information here that's probably not too relevant this time. So that's your main report. So again, that was purely logging into Mailchimp and clicking reports. Under email, and this takes a while to build, so it might not show my latest report. It doesn't. But you can compare various campaign matrices at this time. So you can come into this in your own time and view how you've done over the last 30 days, campaigns, and so on. At the audience level, you can see how you've done. Audience, over the last 30 days, how many people subscribed, how many unsubscribed, and so on. And this is just a demo account, so it doesn't have much data in this time. We looked at reports. Under custom reports, this is pretty cool, particularly if you have lots of data, which I don't have, but if you have a lot of data, and you can go through custom reports, those are fairly basic. But under comparative reports, what we can do is we can compare, or we can look at segments of our data post send. So for example, let me create a comparative report. And what we will see, so let me select my audience in this case. So this was Gary's Great Ice Cream. I've only sent one, just bear with me. Let me try and find a different audience. No campaigns, this is not going well, is it? Okay, there we go. Gary's Organic Web. So they're multiple. So we can compare across all of these reports, and what we can do is dive into them. So let's just, we can select or deselect certain, and I, in this case, I'm just going to click compare 6 campaigns near the bottom of the screen. So now we can add a segment. So we can go segment. So let me say I want to see only people in this segment, and let's call this segment where people were called Gary or something. I don't know, Gary. There we go. Find subscribe people whose first name in this case is Gary. So particularly if you have a lot of data, you can do it. You can say, show me all people whose domain name ends in gov or edu or gov.au. So we can see that for, sorry, let me just review, let me just refresh that. And what you'll notice is that for across all those campaigns, and my open rate was that, but for people called Gary, it was that, and the click rate was that, and for Gary, it was that, and so on. So that we would then finalize and generate our snapshot. But that is those custom reports that are really, really, really valuable. So just very quickly into reports again. Your main report will be under analytics reports, but custom reports as well is where you can segment post send.